What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is Queen Sugar, Season 5, Episode 4. Listen, Queen Sugar, we're not doing this. We're not going to do this for the next 10 weeks, 5, however many more episodes we have. We're not doing this, okay? Y'all not going to do this to me every week. Let's go on and jump into it. But if you saw the episode, you already know what I'm talking about. Now let's go ahead and do it. We start this episode off with Ralph Angel, Darla, and Blue. Blue is once again proving to them all that he is a damn genius, okay? He is talking about body temperature and whether Ralph Angel should be wearing his clothes in the house or not after he come home from work. Darla child is cleaning up everything on the house. She discovering stuff that Ralph Angel ain't even know existed because she bored as hell, okay? She is bored, stuck in that house all day, and so I think a lot of people during the quarantine did a whole lot of this. I know I purged, I threw away a lot of stuff, okay? Not as much as I should have, but I did. Um, Now we have some things going on over to Nova's house. Nova and her man. He being real nice. He got breakfast set up and everything. And Nova was like, this all cool and everything, but I feel like you up to something. And he was like, well, listen, it's my daughter. And y'all did tell me he had another daughter. I forgot. Okay. His oldest daughter's in college, and of course she's coming home because of the quarantine. And she wants to quarantine with them. He said, listen, me and her, our relationship has never been the same since the divorce. This could probably be a way for me to sort of get back in. I really would like for her to stay with us. And Nova was like, listen, you acting like your wife ain't, turn and show her whole ass down to your grandfather's cookout. And he said, I get it, but she's not like her mom. Like, please don't, take it out on her mom's ignorance. And Nova was like, listen, I ain't never gonna tell you no as it relates to your children, but please know that I am cautiously optimistic about this whole situation. Okay. Um. Now Nova, I'm gonna just gonna knock this out. Nova gets real nervous about the young lady coming, but she shows up, and baby, she loves her some Nova. She is very familiar with Nova's work online, and immediately I said to myself, "Oh, she one of these woke white women, right? She one of these went to college, got enlightened, probably been going to some Black Lives Matter protests. Well, this was before Black Lives Matter this summer, but y'all know what I'm saying. One of them woke white women, right? She been reading Nova stuff online, and she thinks she get it. We find out later on in the episode that she's probably more feminist. She probably leans towards the feminism side of this whole situation. They're playing cards, and her dad said something about her being aggressive, and she was like, "Would you say that to your friends on poker night, that they're being aggressive?" And he was like, I'm just saying." And she went on this whole, this whole tirade about, men and making, these passive aggressive comments about women being aggressive and about this and about that and this and the other. And he said, "You've been talking to her?" Nova was like, "No, but that was very well said, young, Padawan." Um, and later on in the episode, her and Nova have a really, really good conversation, and she lets Nova know, "Listen, I admire you, and I really want to get to know you, and I'm really glad." She said, "Listen, I never saw my dad happy. I never saw my dad happy until you. I see something in my dad that I never saw all those years he was married to my mom. And, I want you to know." And I guess that was her in her own way saying, "Listen, I don't blame you and I'm not mad at you, you know." And they have a little bit of a moment. And so he think, "Hey, we in there like swimwear." And Nova was like, "Listen, let me remind you of something. I need you to not think this is going to be easy. Like, okay, things seem to be, because I got my eye on the daughter. I don't know, it was a little too easy, too fast, too soon, okay, for me. But I got my eye on the daughter. But at the same time, I feel like she was saying, listen, everybody is not going to be so cool with this. We got these, MAGA stickers all over the place. Like, let's not forget where we are. The minute we come out this house and come out of our own little world, we're back into reality. And the reality is that even in 2020, because at the time of 2020, even in 2020, there are people who do not want to see us together. So please don't get caught up in your mind that we good, because it ain't that easy. So, um, Micah and his mom. Oh gosh, her real name is popping in my head, and that's why I keep. Oh gosh. Why Charlie? I'm about to say how I forget Charlie. Anyway, so Micah is home and Charlie is cooking, and he was like, "Oh my goodness, you looking real relaxed." And she said, "No, I'm still stressed out. What you're seeing is acceptance. Like I get it. I can't control everything. I don't have the answers for everything. This is what it is." Um, and so they're talking, and she's asking him about the girl, and just as well, she's cooking in the kitchen, and he was like, "You need some help?" And she was like, "Sure, I could always use some help." And he washes his hands, and they getting ready to get into a good conversation. And she's asking him about the new girl, who is she? Tell me about her, and all of that. And she ends up calling. So of course Michael leaves her hanging, and he goes up in the kitchen, honey. Um, we're gonna come back to that because I gotta. We're gonna come back to that. Now, over with Vi, Hollywood went to go see his mom, and she's in the hospital. And we know how that goes. We know how that was going during quarantine. He wasn't able to get in the hospital to see her. The hospital was going to let him in, because make an exception since he was out of state. But then they changed their mind, and they were like, "No, we can't chance it. We can't let her in. I mean, let him in." And he's calling Vi. Vi's like, "Well, I'm on my way up there." He said, "No, ain't no need." He said, "I don't want to have to worry about you too. Like, no, you stay where you are, and I'll handle this." But his mom is in the hospital, um, I believe he even said that they had her on the ventilator. And he said that he just been praying, and she said some good stuff. Told him, "Listen, your mother gave you faith, and you just pray." And he said, "I did. I just picked a window. I didn't even know if it was her window, but I just picked a window and I prayed. I looked at that window and I prayed." And she, Mr. Prosper actually ended up calling her, I believe. And he said he was returning Hollywood's call from a few days ago. And she said, "Prosper, it's really good to hear from you." And and he said, "Yeah, she said, I bought you some groceries." And he said, "I know, and I appreciate it." He said, "I'm sorry I didn't answer the phone when you came by, but, you just can't be too safe. Like, you don't know who's sick, who not. Like, I just. And she said, "Prosper, have you been getting out?" And he said, "No, it ain't safe." And she said, "But you are over there by yourself. You can go for a walk and get some fresh air. Like, are you doing anything? You getting some fresh air, you going out the house?" And he was like, "Nah." She said, "Listen, you pack up your stuff. You come and stay with me. Hollywood is visiting his mom. And, I'm sure he would feel better that you're here. And I would feel better that you're here. If you could please, And I was actually shocked, but he said yes. He actually said yes. So he packed up, honey, and he came over to hang out with them for a little while. Um, and when he got there, he asked Vi, "How's Hollywood's mom?" And she said, "Well, she's hanging in there. And just at that moment, Hollywood called and told her they're going to, told Ava they're taking her off the ventilator tomorrow. And that was a moment, She, that Vi is a good woman. I mean, she talked him right through it. She said, well, first of all, she said, that it's too soon. You have a right to say no. He said, listen, the doctors told me that it's not going to change anything. And if I kept her on the ventilator, I would just be doing it for me, not for her. And, I can't be selfish like that. And so she talked to him, and she told him, listen, your mother's still here today. Your mother, is proud of you. You are a good son. You are a good man. And she loved you. And, think about the good memories. Think about the good times, And it was a moment, y'all. It was a moment. I was like, oh my gosh, no, Hollywood, no. But, I mean, the reality is we couldn't get through a season without somebody. Now, like I said, y'all know I was worried about my Prosper. I still got my eye on them with my Prosper. And I hate that Hollywood mama died. But COVID is just touching so many people and so many people's lives. It wouldn't have been an authentic story to tell and somebody not be affected. And we ain't done. I don't believe we're done. Um, so Hollywood's mama passed away. They took her off the ventilator, and Vi told Prosper about it, and they shared a moment. They shared a moment. Um, because again, and Prosper said that's the fifth person I know that in the last 2 months. Like, it's crazy, And yeah. So Ralph Angel is at his new job, and he runs into one of the residents there. The guy, at first I thought we was gonna find out that he was like some long lost boxing legend, because he was sitting there shadow boxing when Ralph Angel ran into him, and I was like, Lord, I hope we ain't. I hope that's not what this about to be. No whole situation where he was some, he could have been the greatest kind of thing. But no, he's there. His wife has dementia, and she's actually in the same facility but in a different building. They've been together forever. They were soulmates, and he said, I'm here to be close to her. I go visit her. She needs a little bit more care than I do, and so I'm here so that I can stay close to her. And Ralph Angel was like, wow, that's great. That's a beautiful love story. And he was like, yeah. Um, and they had a moment. They had a good conversation. And so Ralph Angel sees him the next day, and he's sort of down in his spirits. And Ralph Angel's like, well, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? And he says, you live your whole life, you do whatever you got to do to get a good job, good car, good house, to keep up with the Joneses, to put on a good face for everybody. And at the end of the day, it don't really mean nothing. When all you want to do is be with the person that you love, and be able to hold them and let them hold your hand on your birthday. And Ralph Angel was like, it's your birthday? And he said, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, well, you're not going to see your wife? He said, well, I was supposed to, but she couldn't. Somebody over on her facility came over there and tested positive, so I can't see her. And Ralph Angel was like, well, listen, we could throw a party for you right here. And he was like, oh, that's really sweet of you, but nah, I can't do that. He said, nah, we gonna handle it. We're gonna take care of it. We're gonna throw you a party. And he said, you're real sweet. You're being really nice to somebody you just met. I really appreciate it. So, Ralph Angel comes home. I really think, anyway, he comes home, and Darla is overwhelmed. She is overwhelmed. She said, Blue is so smart. He's running through everything fast as I could give it to him. He's figuring it out. I can't find a job. I can't get to my NA meeting, and I'm just overwhelmed. Like, I am just really, really overwhelmed. And Ralph Angel is like, listen, I got you. And he calms her down. He was like, I got you. We're going to get through this together. I got you. And they had a moment, and it was good. It was a good moment, I'm trying to be nicer to Darla and Ralph Angel. Now, while all of this is going on, Micah comes back downstairs to come and hang out with Charlie. She said, oh, you feel guilty about leaving me hanging earlier, making the salad? And he was like, maybe a little bit. And they actually had a really good conversation. She opened up to him about being a teenage mom, which I don't think a lot of us knew that she had gotten pregnant with Michael while she was an undergrad. And she talks about her feeling like she was going to be disappointing everybody. She talks about the fact that, she was expected to be the one to succeed, and having to tell her dad about it, and the fact that, he said, listen, I was proud of you yesterday, I'm proud of you today, and I know you're going to make me proud tomorrow. You're going to figure this out, and it's going to be okay. And she said that she convinced them to put her and Davis in graduate housing, because remember, Davis was still a star basketball player, and, they made it work, and they're sitting there talking, and Micah gets up to do something, and while he got up to go do something, his phone rang. Because she asked him if he wanted something to eat, and he told her no, he wasn't hungry. So she picks up the phone. Now listen, I don't know how it happened, what happened, but somehow or another, she ended up hitting the button and played the message. And come to find out, there was a whole party going on that they were like, Michael, where are you? And Charlie was like, "Oh, so this is what's going on. This why you're not hungry? Because you on your way to a party?" And he was like, "You spying on me?" She said, "No, I was handing you the phone." But Charlie, somehow you was playing the message. You I don't know how that had happened, but it did. Um, and they end up having an argument about him going out being safe in the middle of a pandemic, whether he should or shouldn't be, partying. And he just kept talking about somehow he was grown, he was grown, he was grown. See, that's the part that I'm pissed off about because Micah, at the end of the day, you know what? I told y'all I went through this when I was in college. You might be grown, but you're still under your mama's roof. And at the end of the day, until you are grown enough to go pay your own bills and rent somewhere else, you need to follow her rules. And y'all are really in the middle of a pandemic and you talking about going to a damn party? Are you crazy? Like, are you absolutely crazy? So she gonna say you just like your daddy. No, because she said something about, so you gonna put my life at risk and your life at risk to go out here for a rebound fling? She said you just like your daddy. And of course, Micah wasn't trying to hear that. She gonna ask him, are you being safe? Now, I don't know if she meant safe sexually or safe pandemic wise, but either way, he walked out the door like he ain't owe her no explanation. Listen, I promise you he wouldn't have got back in. Call your daddy. How about that? You so grown. Go stay in an apartment. Go get your own apartment. Go get your own credit card. I mean, go get your own hotel room. Get your credit card together. Because he wouldn't have got back in that house. Not that night. No, ma'am. No, he wouldn't have. So the next day, they're sitting there, and she tells him about the first time her and his dad got into a fight. And how she was feeling overwhelmed with the baby. And that she felt like he wasn't pulling his weight. And so she put him out. Told him you can leave. And again, I kept thinking that this story was going to lead to where the comment came from about the rebound thing. But it didn't. She just ended up apologizing. I don't feel like... So then she going to turn around and apologize to him. Charlie, you don't owe him no damn apology. He owe you an apology. You know why he owe you an apology? Because you weren't wrong. Now, the comment about you just like your daddy, okay, maybe. But, again, we are in the middle of a pandemic. He don't have no good-ass reason to take his happy ass out to nobody's party in the middle of a pandemic. I'm sorry. And for you to let him back in the house not knowing where he had been the night before, what he had been doing, and who he had been doing it with, without taking him a good test, ma'am. I was so mad at Charlie for apologizing to his ass. I don't owe him shit. Well, I'm grown. All right, grown. Go sit your ass down to the Hilton. Grown. I was so mad. Now, Ralph Angel, he arranged for his resident. He said, I got a surprise for you. He said, Ralph Angel, I ain't really big on surprises. He said, no, I got a surprise for you. And what he had done was he had his wife outside. And they were able to communicate through the glass. And he was like, I love you so much. I love you so much. I'm so sorry. I love you so much. And with that, baby, he took his butt. Ralph Angel took his butt home. He laid his head in Darla's lap, honey. And he told Darla, listen, I know you wanted a big old fancy wedding. He said, but listen, you have always been my soulmate. She said, and I'm yours forever. He said, okay, so this is what we gonna do. We need to go ahead and get married like now. Because I can't do this without you. I need you. I need you. And so she said, well, let's do it tomorrow. So, baby, they're going to go ahead and get married. And last but not least, we left off with Hollywood mourning his mom, going through her things. And he found a letter that she wrote him. And they did this real cute split screen thing where while he was reading the letter from his mom that he had written to his mom, it was like a postcard from when he was on the rig, Ralph Angel was praying to his dad. And they were both having this moment with their parents about where they are, how proud of them they were, and all of that. And it was a moment. And that's what we sort of left off with Hollywood sitting at that table crying. Baby, that thing took me out. Hollywood at that table crying. Ooh, that thing took me out. Anyway, y'all, that was Queen Sugar. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.